Breaking news now, a resolution on Venezuela proposed by the U.S. that calls for presidential elections and deliveries of aid has failed at the United Nations. It was vetoed by Russia and China at this emergency session that's underway right now. The Russian ambassador in the room criticizing the U.S., accusing the Trump administration for seeking regime change as the country is embroiled in a power crisis. So that's happening more as we get that. Meantime, Michael Cohen's lawyer is firing back after two Republican congressmen say that Cohen, the president's longtime personal attorney, committed perjury when he testified before the House Oversight Committee. Trump allies, Congressman Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows, have referred Cohen to the Department of Justice for possible criminal prosecution. They say Cohen wasn't truthful on several points, including Cohen saying he never desired to work in the Trump White House. Cohen's attorney says the move is, quote, a sad misuse of the criminal justice system with the aura of pure partisanship. Here is Congressman Jordan today talking about that hearing.
This is step one in the Democrats' crazy efforts to impeach the President of the United States. And the best they could come up with is a guy who is going to prison in 2 months for lying to Congress.
CNN senior political commentator John Kasich is the former Republican governor of Ohio and former Republican presidential candidate. Governor, a pleasure.
Yeah,
Good to have you on.
Brooke, before we get into the Cohen thing, think about this. Russia vetoes a resolution at the UN. People are starving in Venezuela.
Yeah.
This is one place where the administration has it right, trying to put pressure on. We have a huge coalition of people that want to change the government in Venezuela to set the people free, and the Russians veto it at the UN.
Thank you for that. Thank you for jumping in on that. I wanted to start with you just on Michael Cohen and just looking at, members of your party yesterday did a lot of, liar, liar, pants on fire, but not a lot of...
what do you really know? Digging in to find out what's true and what's not.
Why not?
Everything is so partisan now that I think that if you're a Republican sitting up there, you're afraid to ask the question because then you become kind of a skunk at the Republican Party.
Even if you're on the side of seeking the truth?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like to me. It's such a different time. When I was in the Congress and we did investigations in defense, where we saw the Marines blown up in Lebanon, we had to have tough questions. This is not like, well, I'm a Republican, therefore I can't ask the administration tough questions. But this is where we've come. Some people there probably really believe that Cohen, has no credibility, that the Democrats should never have called that hearing. But at the same time, if you're on that committee, I think you want to acquit yourself by saying, let's get to some of the facts here. But they didn't do it. But, this is where we live today, and it's really amazing.
You can't listen to just Michael Cohen, right? It's this whole big picture collective. And if some of what Cohen said is corroborated by other key players here, do you think this warrants action against a sitting president?
Well, here's what we are learning today is that, and I think Cohen said this yesterday, that there are investigations going on the basis
Elijah
of some
Cummings
of the
said
things,
other shoes to
some
drop.
of the things that he said. So I don't know how many investigations you're going to have. You got the Southern District, and of course we're all waiting for Mueller to see what he brings forward.
But if and when it is corroborated, does that warrant actions against a sitting president?
Let's see what we have. I mean, in other words, I'm not really great into speculation. People wanted me to speculate about the Korean summit last night. I said, wait a minute, I need to see it. I need to know.
Sure.
And now, look, if you want to be really good on TV, you do a lot of speculating. But I'm not a speculator. I want to do a good job, and we'll see what we have. You know what I hope?
What?
I hope that there's not all these things, these threads that fit together. But if they do, this is terrible problems for the president and terrible problems for our country.
The other question is something else that stands out that actually hasn't gotten a lot of attention is Cohen's remark
One other thing. What is amazing to me is the resilience of Republicans and their ability to put their heads in the sand in regard to Donald Trump and his activities. Now,
and if and when something eventually happens, they can't do that.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do because a lot of times I talk to these Republicans and say, what's going on? Well, my 401k is better, or, we're richer and he's been a good president and all that. And in the meantime, think about how much this country has been hurt. Attacks on the basic institutions in this country, the FBI, the press. But I got to tell you, Brooke, these are kind of nuances for a lot of people. We follow it all the time, but a lot of people don't follow this. And they're like, my life is okay, I'm working, I have money, and it's just people wanting to pick on him. And that's where a lot of Republicans live. The question is, with the Cohen testimony, how many Republicans that have been kind of sitting on the fence finally say, after that, I've had enough? That's what we're going to have to see in these polls and the politics of this.
Stay with me. I have more from you. I want to ask about the statement from the president. You mentioned speculating or not last night.